What's going on, guys? Alex with 814ADC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Jason Guthrie Scout. So this is on loan from my good buddy Corey over at Stafford's EDC. I will leave his channel and his Instagram link down below. Please go check him out. You guys know who Corey is. If you follow my channel, he's one of my better buddies in the knife community. He's a gem of a human being, and I love when Corey sends me packages, because usually when he sends them to me, they have absolute fantastic knives in them. He has sent me this one, which is a full like $1,300 custom. He has sent me two Trevor Burgers, an Urban and an LAXK, and he has sent me his Oz Roosevelt, which just, I mean, those are some knives that I would never get to check out, because I don't have them in the collection, and they're just fantastic knives, and I have to thank Corey for it. I actually told him that the other day, how much I appreciate him sending me some of his, high quality, high end stuff. And hopefully I will be able to, reciprocate that to him one day when I hopefully can get some better stuff in. Not that I can't, I could probably buy some of the stuff right now, but I just tend to, have a little bit bigger of a collection than Corey does. His is more, condensed into, customs and high end production models and stuff like that, to where I kind of have a little bit, broader of a collection with some more budget stuff and stuff like that. But, yeah, so this is the JG or Jason Guthrie Scout. I believe this is just the normal Scout. It's not the 2.0. I tried looking on his Instagram and learning a little bit more about it, but I don't know a whole lot about the JG Scouts or that sort of realm about, these type of knives. And I think Corey is like the only friend that I have, or even person that I follow on Instagram that has a Scout. So like I said, I don't know much about him. But guys, this is a really, really good knife. I have really, really enjoyed getting to know this thing. This is a user for Corey. So he, when he sent it to me, he said to use it. I haven't used a lot. I've opened a few packages with it. I think I cut like half a box of cardboard. And I haven't carried it a ton just because it's, a $1,300 knife, and I don't want to, risk, messing it up or anything like that. But, it's so cool, guys. I've really kind of fallen over, head over heels for it. And yeah, so jumping right into materials, it is rocking this really cool, I believe this is end cut carbon fiber, because you can't see, it has a, it has a pattern on this side of this scale, but then when you turn it this way, if it'll catch the light the right way, there you guys can see the end cut carbon. So it's kind of it's not something that kind of pops right away. Corey did say that he would love to get a micarta version of the Scout or a Scout 2.0 in the future, but he said for right now the end cut, does the job for him, and he's happy with it. So it's very, very lightweight, obviously, because both scales are carbon fiber, and it's a super lightweight knife. It was kind of the first thing that I, sort of thought about once I picked it up. Another thing that is cool, and this is the first time I ever got to handle a knife with this sort of design on it, but it is a single thumb studded knife. So you can only thumb flick it. You can't reverse flick it unless you do it lefty, which sometimes I've been tossing it over and doing it that way. I don't know. I think you probably could take the screw out and switch it around if you, were completely, like if you were a righty and you just wanted to reverse flick it. I don't know if that's how that works or not, but that might be possible. The blade shape is gorgeous. I believe it is a hand rub satin. Again, this is the whole knife is a handmade custom, so I believe this is a hand rub satin. It has it's like a harpoon, sort of sheep's foot style, or like it's not a Warncliffe, but it's kind of a sheep's foot, harpoon drop point. It's very unique and it's very comfortable. This harpoon is up here. We'll get to that later with the ergos, but if I'm being honest, I don't know what the blade steel is in this. I forgot to ask Corey. So if I had to guess, it is M390 20 CV, but I could also see it being like 154 CM or RWL 34, something like that. But again, I don't know a whole lot about these, and that was something that I forgot to ask Corey when I was chatting to him about it. So, but it's very thin behind the edge. It's a full flat grind, and like Corey told me, it is a very, very good cutter. Nice and very thin behind the edge. One thing I will note with the hand satin, it's a fingerprint magnet. So if you have one of these, I would guess you probably carry a hank with you to consistently wipe this off as you smudge it up and stuff like that. But has a milled titanium pocket clip over here that is different because it is stood up off the scale with these standoffs back here. There is the JG logo. I don't know exactly what these screws are for. I think those are holding in maybe the lock bar, or it just adds a little bit more support for the lock bar. And the lock bar itself is cool because it's like milled out, but it's not milled the whole way. It's kind of cool. I believe like the thumb stud, it is either zircotie or mokotie, or I think that's what those are called. Those are all the bougie things that I don't tend to buy for knives. But the liner, if you guys are gonna see that or not, but has kind of hints of blue to it, and it's really, really cool. There is only one liner on this knife, and it is the actual liner lock, but the lockup is super, super solid. This is a washer knife, so it's very nice and hydraulic and has a great action to it. And speaking of action, I think it's time for us to jump into the action segment of this knife. So you basically, as a righty, you can only thumb flick it. Comes out very snappy, or you can slow roll it, which works well as well. But it's so snappy, so crisp. The detent is tuned really, really nicely on this knife. Just fires out of there. And then as a righty, you can switch it over to your left hand, and you can middle finger flick it that way. So kind of adds a little bit more fidgetability to the knife. And closure. One thing that I found with washer knives, you're not going to get the same consistent closing action every single time. Because here, it'll drop the whole way down to your thumb. Then here, you kind of have to push it over even more to get it to drop, and now it's still not dropping. So it's just something I've kind of picked up on. It was the same thing with my mini old guard that I had. Actually, I had 2 mini old guards from Monterey Bay Knives. And it's just something that kind of goes along with the washer knives. And I don't know what it is, because sometimes it'll fall directly to your thumb. Other times it'll kind of get caught up and then slowly drop. I don't know if it depends on how forceful you flick it out. See, like right here, I can slow roll it out and just barely put it in, and it'll drop. Then I can fire it out, and then it kind of gets caught up. So I don't know how that really works, but I don't have any washer knives. Well, I do have some Spydercos that have washers, but that's a whole different ball game with the compression lock. So for overall, action with the washers, it's just, I think Corey has this, sort of worn in pretty well by now, and it is just very hydraulic. I don't mind the kind of inconsistent action because it really doesn't bug me that much. I just kind of wanted to point it out to you guys. But overall, action is phenomenal. And yeah, I really like the inset liner lock. I think Corey said that some of the 2.0s have frame locks. And he might have had a frame lock before, and I think he had one before this that he's gotten rid of. But it was either this, or I think he's had I think his name is Bradley Maris. I think I said his name was something else in the unboxing of this video, or the unboxing of this knife. But I believe his name is Bradley Maris, and he is a student of Jason Guthrie that goes out, or that is out as, I can't talk right now, that is out on his own, and he's doing designs very, very similar to Jason Guthrie here. So it's hard to keep track of Corey because he trades stuff a lot, and I know he's had something like this in the collection at some point before, but I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. But the action on this is just really, really phenomenal. Just really a pleasure to flick, and it's very satisfying, very intoxicating. So action is awesome. But next up is ergos. And guys, the ergos on this thing are also very, very awesome. It's very lightweight, being that both scales are carbon fiber. And the way the knife is shaped, it's kind of, you have a finger groove built in here, and then it kind of tapers off towards the back here. It goes from fat to skinny. And then you have a landing area of jimping. You have the poon area up here. So either way you hold this knife, it is very, very comfortable. You can kind of, not necessarily choke back, but you can kind of hold it in like this saber grip right here. Your hand rests on the jimping. It's very comfortable. Or you can choke up a little bit with your thumb and find yourself here in the poon area, and it's very comfortable. It's a very nice kind of bridge for your thumb. Or you can, if you really have big mitt, you can kind of stretch yourself out here if you want some ultra control over push cuts. But any way you hold this knife, it's going to perform well. It has just a stupid thin grind, a nice flat grind, comes down to a thin edge. On whatever blade steel this is, I apologize for not knowing. Making sure I'm still recording. Making sure I apologize for not making sure I knew what the blade steel was. So that's on me. But yeah, so I really like how it's kind of chamfered and contoured here. And really the rest of the knife is just kind of simple. Like it has, flat edges and stuff like that. But it works well. It just stupid comfortable. Doesn't really have much of a choil area, but I don't think you necessarily need it with this knife. With this poon up here, you just, get locked in, and it feels very, very good in the hands. So ergos are awesome. And the next up is carry. And this pot clip goes in and out of your pocket very easily. It doesn't have like the best tension in the world, but it's one of those longer pot clips that I don't, when they tend to be that much longer than other ones, that's kind of where you get the less, tension, which makes sense. But it sits pretty deep in the pocket for, it's not a true traditional deep carry pot clip. Excuse me. I'm out of water, and I've just filmed 3 videos in a row, so my voice hopefully is not going to sound hoarse, but it might, so I apologize if it does. But for not being a true deep carry pot clip, it rides very deep in the pocket. It pretty much goes to the butt end of the knife. It goes right up to the standoffs there that it has the pot clip attached to. And I don't know, this is only a righty carry knife. I thought maybe you could flip it over, but you would have to have one in the middle to do that. So you might be able to have him tap a side there for you, or I'm sure he probably does lefty customs. I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But this thing's so lightweight, it just drops into your pocket so well. You have nothing over here to worry about for flipper tabs or jimping purposes. It's just carbon fiber, uncut carbon fiber. Goes in and out of your pocket very well. I've tossed this thing in gym shorts, and it, didn't even know it was there. It's so lightweight, and just overall, just an absolute pleasure to carry. So that leads me to my final category of price point and would I recommend this knife. I would recommend this knife, 8 days a week, every day that ends in Y, whatever saying you want to say. This thing is fantastic. Hopefully in the future I can afford to get one of these, because like Corey said, I think this goes for like $1,300. So it's definitely expensive, but it is a full handmade custom. So I do get the reasoning behind that. But it's going to be a long while before I can, I don't want to say afford to get one, because I think if I sold every single knife in my collection, I would have I'd have enough money to buy one. But I'm still at the point now where I still like getting some budget stuff in. I still like getting some of the low end stuff in. The knife world's too big. There's too many models out there, too many designs that I've never handled before for me to go right straight to all this high end stuff. But eventually someday, once I am on my own, or my fiance on her own, and we have full-time, big person jobs and stuff like that, I'm definitely going to feel a little bit more comfortable spending money on these, because, now that I've felt one, and now that I've had one in hand and got to experience it, and, got some time with it, I definitely want one in the future. I want one of these. I want a Roosevelt, which are really hard to come by, and the aftermarket prices or the secondary prices are like double, to almost triple what some of the table prices go for. So those are hard to come by, very expensive. I want, a burger in the collection at some point. Those are a little bit easier to get than the Roosevelts, but they're still expensive. And there's some other stuff that I really want to get in the collection that are not necessarily this expensive, but still pretty pricey. But someday, hopefully, I will be able to get one of these, because I really do enjoy it, from the ergos to the carryability to just having the feeling that you're carrying a very elegant piece of cutlery in your pocket, and it's fully hand ground, great materials, just a really, a beautiful piece of EDC gear, and it's honestly like a piece of art. So I've really enjoyed having this in. Corey, thank you so much for sending me this, dude. I'm sure it's not going to be the last high-end knife you send me, because you have very good taste in knives, and I love seeing what he gets in from time to time, and I get to check it out sometimes. So yeah, guys, this was my full review on the Jason Guthrie Scout, which was in on loan from my good buddy Corey over at Safford's EDC. I will leave his Instagram and his YouTube linked down below. Please go check him out. I think, actually, I'm going to check right now. I think as of the time of me recording this, he is right under 800 subs. So I'd like for you guys to go over and check him out, push him over there. Yeah, he's at 891. So he is 11 away from 800. So please go, check him out, give him a sub, give him a subscribe if you're interested. He's just a great guy. And like I said, he's one of my better buddies in the knife community, and I'm really happy to be able to call him that and be able to call him a friend. So like I said, this was my full review on the JG Scout. Absolutely beautiful piece of EDC gear. Just kind of a piece of art, and that's kind of where I want to, kind of where my head goes when I, look at it and I think of how much it costs and how it's handmade and everything like that. It is really, truly a piece of art. And yeah, so leave a comment down below if you guys are, sort of interested in the JG Scouts, or if you're like me, you're not super familiar with them, or up until this video, but you're kind of interested in now. Again, I love hearing what you guys have to say. I try to reply to every comment that you guys make, and it's the biggest, one of the bigger parts of being in YouTube is just the communication between you guys. And yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna quit rambling and ranting and raving and doing what I do best, stumbling over my words. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.